Hello, my name is Dante Renee from the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1971's Sugar Cookies. 1971's Sugar Cookies, right here, starring Lynn Lowry and Mary Warrenov. Great artwork on the cover here. This is put out by Vinegar Syndrome. And if you know Lynn Lowry, and of course you know Mary Warrenov and her work in a film that I looked at on this YouTube page, Eating Raoul. Lynn Lowry has been in things like Shivers, The Crazies, the Sexploitation of Score, and many others, even some independent films. The interesting thing is that this film was written and produced by Mr. Lloyd Kaufman, and I believe Lloyd Kaufman's dad is in this film as well. Lloyd Kaufman Sr., I think, playing a lawyer. This film, Sugar Cookies, you would not typically think of as being a film written by Lloyd Kaufman, but you might see some little pieces in there that you might that might echo what would be his work in the way future, with Troma. Now this was basically distributed by Troma, originally distributed by Troma, but this was actually not directed by Lloyd Kaufman. It was directed by Theodore Gershuni. And I don't know if he has done anything else, so let me know in the comments if he has. Let's get into Sugar Cookies here from 1971, 91 minutes long. Sugar Cookies is a very, very unique film. There really is no other film like it. I know I say that a lot on this YouTube page, but maybe it's the films that I love. Maybe it's the films that I love and that I feel need to be talked about more, and so they get on this YouTube page, and they're all unique and creative. This is really just something that I haven't seen in this form before. Some people would call this film a sexploitation film. Some people would call this film kind of a psychological dark drama. Some people might call it a psychosexual thriller, or a 70s exploitation film, or a 70s art house film. There could even be elements looked at as horror in this film as well. And Sugar Cookies, I believe, is all of that. It's all of that, and possibly more than that too. This is a very complex film. We really are only dealing with three main characters in the film, and really two. The focus is on two ladies in this film, Mary Warrenov and Lynn Lowry's characters, and so the focus is really on them. And it's such an interesting film because the film relies upon great characters, great acting, in which there are for both of those already, and great dialogue. This is a film of tension, and it's a film of unexpected scenes, unexpected turns, but it's not just in the typical way of what you would know as twists and turns in a cinematic experience. It's in the way that it's written differently. It's written uniquely. It's just the whole movie of Sugar Cookies is done differently than what you are used to, than what you're used to seeing. And it makes the film fascinating. As you're watching this 91-minute film, you're sucked into a very strange story, a strange world that is difficult. And as I mentioned, it's complicated. It's not black and white. This is a film that deals with love and violence and the connections between the two. Some people might say that this could be looked at as maybe touching on the tinges of sex and violence within S&M and BDSM and kind of what that all means together, but it's not directly referenced here. But it's something that sometimes you see in films. Somebody wants to hurt somebody because they love them so much, or be hurt by somebody. So we have that type of that sex and violence and love. Um, the idea of power is in this film. The idea of mind control and control in general, um, and then greed and the ideas of movie making, and also sex movie making, and the idea of art, the idea of relationships and broken relationships, and using people and loving people, and obsession as well. Obsession with people, obsession with power, control, vulnerability. It deals with ideas of identity. Who are you? Who are we all? Also, we have some cross-dressing in here. We have body image in here. The concepts of kind of movie making, auditions, casting people, nudity, all of those elements within movie making as well. And kind of family relationships and broken family relationships, and I believe maybe even tinges of gay men or homosexuality in the film, as well as lesbianism and freedom, freedom and trust. These are also two themes that are in Sugar Cookies as well: freedom and trust. Sugar Cookies is an extremely complex film, but done very, very simply and artistically. The style of the film is just lush. It's amazing. From the furniture, the 70s, 60s furniture, to the colors of the film, to the environments and the locations, and the really all interior wise, beautiful big pieces of art, carpeting this mansion of sorts where they run a stop sign to get there, with tennis courts and a pool and this bed with a photo on top, and this bar on a desk. And we're at one point we shoot through a projector 35 millimeter reel or 16 millimeter reel. We shoot through that. We have a hazy shot at one point that really is a movie within a movie. As we're watching movies, the characters in the film, they are watching films, and then we start to watch them watching films, and then we get to see, from what we are watching as viewers, the films that they were watching actually becoming real or acted out in a way. And so Sugar Cookies also has a theme running through the film. There's a ton of music in here, but again, just like the movie is very different, very unique, the music is very different, very unique. We are dealing with music in this film that is piano driven, key driven, but synth driven, synthesizers and weird sounds, darkness, and kind of oppressive, dark synth sounds. There were sounds in here at times that reminded me of the original Black Christmas score with the kind of the crashing piano keys, and also there were elements that reminded me a bit of the rhythmic qualities of the original score to Slumber Party Massacre. And then we also have kind of a Johnny Cash sounding song. We have some kind of late 60s, early 70s rock music, rock pop music. We have some funky, groovy driven music. And so really it's just chock filled. And the main theme of the film has this very dark, this dark quality to it that sometimes becomes lighter and sometimes continues dark. So it's very, very interesting. Sugar Cookies is painful. It's erotic. We do have full nudity in the film, and simulated sex and sexual dialogue in the film as well. Pretty explicit sexual dialogue, more than what you normally would have, but kind of inside the world of sex films. And this is really a world that has drama, that has horror, that even has a little bit of gore in that horror, that has confusion, complexity, pain, anxiety, vulnerability, confusion and being lost. There's so many different elements here. So, Sugar Cookies is a film of anxiety and tension, definitely. And Mary Woronov, I think this is my favorite role with Mary Woronov. I mean, this film is Mary Woronov and Lynn Lowry, without a doubt. This is them. I think this is Lynn Lowry's best role, and without a doubt, this is Mary Woronov. This is my favorite Mary Woronov role. She commands such a presence. She was really hot in this film to me, and she commands such a power and an intimidating power in Sugar Cookies. And she is, man, just her eyes, her face, her very long hair in the film. She has such a, there's such a mystery. There's such a mystery between the two main characters. It's as difficult as life is, but life is even more difficult. This is 1971's Sugar Cookies. Nothing like it, folks. Here it is. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like 1971's Sugar Cookies. Please feel free to check out my other reviews on this YouTube page, only of movies that I love. So there's nothing negative here. It's all movies I love on this YouTube page. Also, please feel free to check out my own personal films. I'm making the transition from YouTube to Vimeo, but it was youtube.com/poopydiarrhea to now vimeo.com/poopydiarrhea. Where you can see my own personally made films that I've been making since 2005. Thank you so much, and good night.